This is our north parking lot area. As you can see here, we have some activity this morning. That we were going to repave. So as you can see here, the concrete is basically disintegrated here, and it's all now loose stone. So we're looking to basically create a wheelchair friendly sidewalk surface. This vegetation is definitely not planned. As you can see here, because of all the construction they've done on our street, there's literally no curb left of the original curb. Got some alligator cracking. This is left unfixed. This will basically turn into what we just saw, disintegrated rubble. And this is just years of weather and cars arbitrarily parking on the sidewalk, and heavy trucks parking on the sidewalk from road repair. So here's another example of where it's basically disintegrated there. So if I was to use a wheelchair, this would be a very unusable area to really wheel myself down or have someone wheel me down, because the ground is really uneven. This is our gate area. This is where the theater empties out onto this sidewalk to either go to the north parking lot or south parking lot. This is all now overgrown. This is all grass. So the sidewalk is basically disintegrated and now grass is growing. Just to give you some scale, I'm a size 11 shoe, and these cracks are pretty significant. If this was to be redone, we could... Good, I'm filming for our grant committee. I'm filming for my grant committee for the sidewalks.
When is that? Oh, great.
So we're meeting this week, so I'm doing some footage of the. So this is one of our neighbors, and this is what we want our sidewalk to look like. And yes,
Right? Yeah.
and this is what our sidewalks look right now. And so I want to show them video of what our sidewalks are.
Yeah.
So it just so happens that you, hey, how are you doing? Good. So this is where the original, I believe, brick wall was, and this is just basically the cement driveway that was original to the building. We had a structure here at one point, and then the structure was torn down because it was just too far beyond repair. And this is our new fence. We had the new fence put in this year because as you saw, we would like to keep a really good relationship with our neighbors. The thing that we're missing most in this particular area is wheel stops. That is actually pieces from our wall that we're using as temporary wheel stops, and as you can see, they're not very a very good alternative. They're movable, and heaven forbid a car hit them, their car could be damaged, or someone could get hurt. The hope is that once we have this area covered with the easy roll material, and just to demonstrate the easy roll material versus the paved is night and day, where you can see the grass is now an even surface. There is no ruts or divots. You can actually roll over this area with very little problem. And here are the wheel steps that we have in place already. A person who's health challenged or not able to walk very well would do very poorly over in this area where there's no easy roll material. As you can see here, there's a little bit of unevenness, and there's debris on the ground. There's a divot that's formed here because there's nothing holding the soil in place, preventing it from deteriorating. And then the same thing here, where we have started the paving process but ran out of money. The ruts are significant here. There's literally an inch drop, inch to 3 inch drop as soon as you get off of the pavement. Part of our access for our entry, our south entry, we're going to be moving these dumpsters, regrading this pavement here, creating a much more welcoming area for people to come in. We're going to create a graded paved surface so people in wheelchairs can ride up to the south entryway, or people using walkers or canes ride up to the south entryway without having to deal with makeshift steps. This is the original slab of the extension that went to the other building that was torn down. So this is really not something that is a historic element, and really makes the entrance look dated. Once we have this all paved, there'll be very little step down for the stage area too, so it'll be easier for people with knee issues to get into the stage door area. Okay, we're in the south lobby entryway. This is the stairs going down to the south parking area. It's a large string of steps, about 8 to 10 steps. There's a view from down here on the first landing. There is basement access this way and upstairs. So the plan is to install a wheelchair lift that takes people in wheelchairs up to the main lobby floor. That would require the installation of the mechanism here at the base. The model that we have designated has a base that folds up and then comes down, and then the remote is, the wheelchair user rolls up on the lift, and then the motorized lift takes them safely up to the first floor landing. We are also talking about, just as we did with the wheelchair ramp in the north parking area, we're going to be installing automatic door openers to the 2 sets of doors that we have here. So we're going to be doing automatic door sensors on these doors. We're going to change out the mechanism that's in place. The mechanism was damaged from using stones or bricks to hold it open, so that's why the bottom is no longer there. The top still works. The door mechanism is not very functional. It doesn't stay unlocked, so we've had issues where even if it was unlocked, it would lock on its own because the mechanism is shot. So once we put the door openers in there, we'll also install a new mechanism on that door. And then there will be also a door opener system for these. And then the electric will be run through what we have in place here. These stay open pretty long on their own. I think this one stays open for quite a long time actually. But these would both open at the same time. Right now you have to open them separately. And one closes at a faster rate, so having a door opener that stays open for someone in a wheelchair would be helpful in this instance. What we plan to do here was to redo the flooring, make it a non-slip flooring. Right now it's a vinyl. We want to put something that's textured. A lot of people come in, snow, rain, it's really caused some damage to our subfloor here, so we need to replace the subfloor there before we do the flooring. It's very, we want to be able to put a display board here that's about chair rail height for someone that's in a wheelchair, so they can adequately view the directory, see what's happening in the building, see what's going on as far as volunteer events, just to demonstrate what we are looking at as a person entering and departing the building via this hallway. As you can see here, we have one light switch here that you gotta physically turn on, and then there's one behind this door that's hidden way up top, so it's about like 6 feet from about my height. So if you're coming in for evening events and this light is not on, you're looking at this, probably a little bit darker. We've had people pull the fire alarm by accident coming in here, thinking that was the light switch. And here's the door. The doorway is your typical school doorway, panic door. And then you have to basically push it really hard. So you have to be really strong. And as you can see here, the many makeshift repairs later, the door needs to be redone. And this is the only way we can keep it open, is by leaving it open, which causes a security issue. We could prop it open with a brick, but then it causes an issue with tripping. And then if you close it, it locks behind. There's no way of getting in after it locks behind. There's no way to really signal to anyone as you're coming up this ramp. So I'm going down our ramp right now, which has 2 switchbacks, to signal to anybody until you get up to the doorway that you're there. So then you either have to call ahead, which, you know, unfortunately not many people will think to do, and then you're then faced with the actual, then you have to go all the way back up after you call and go through this process again, and then wait for someone to either hear you, come up. So what we plan to do is to either put a low energy sensor here, somewhere about this area, so when the person comes up and the door is open for the day, all the person has to do is wheel up here, and then the door would automatically swing open, and then the person has access into the hall. This is our main lobby. We're getting ready to put up an art exhibit. This is an installation by one of our local exhibiting artists that are coming in. area is usually used for exhibitions. We've had a number of artists come in. They have paid very little to exhibit. Here is our hallway for our elevators, and this goes to all the floors in the building. So once they're in the building, they can access all the floors in the building. Okay, so we're on the stage of the Palea Theater. We have 500-seat theater. As you can see here, unfortunately, we don't have any events going on just now. Last weekend, which was the September 13th, we did have a non-profit community group come in and do necessity bags for the homeless. We put together 270 bags in the orchestra pit. So we had about 30 people in here for about 2 hours, which is the most we've had since February. Before March. As you can see here, we have access on the top there. We do have upfront seating for people with disabilities, and the door that's open in the back there is closest to our south entrance, where people would come in through the south parking area. So we're in our cafe space on the 3rd floor. As you can see here, we have a couple of stages. We hold our Cafe Artiste event here on Tuesday nights, which is 5 singer-songwriters playing their own music. And we invite the community to come out and watch. We also have community meals here to do fundraising events. We've raised money for fire victims. We've raised money for the building, obviously. We've also done speaker events in here. And I'm going to take you back here. Here's our culinary space. We are diligently working to create programs with local charter schools, alternative schools, to create culinary career programs, so some joint programming efforts. These programs will help students decide whether or not they want to enter the culinary field. And this space allows students to be able to live and work in a real live, well, not live in a, but basically work in a real live professional kitchen. This space was just created a couple years ago. Right now we're trying to partner with Achieve in Lake Como. So the improvements that we're doing downstairs will greatly benefit us in the sense that we'll be able to handle the increased capacity with a program of 10 to 15 students once operations resume. So this is one of our wonderful spaces. Probably one of the last spaces on the inside created for arts-specific programming. I'm going to come out to the main area space. As I mentioned before, the classrooms serve as arts-based initiatives. We have a young dancer doing virtual classes here, doing COVID we have our building muralist has created Ocean Grove specific paintings on our walls. We just had a resident move in to a space. They're in the process of moving in. Okay, so we're in the Herbst Theater. This is our black box theater. Basically a smaller version of the Palea. I know the stage is black, so it's kind of hard to tell that that is a stage, but that is a stage area. Those two seating items are where Comedy Sports does their improv, family style improv performance every Saturday. They're another one of our residents in our building. As you can see here, we are in a very narrow room, but this is a great room for smaller theater groups who are just starting out. The seating was purchased from a now defunct church, I think in Virginia, and this room, I believe, is a combination of two older classrooms. This is either the old chemistry room or the band room, because if you look here, one of the doors is open. This is where supposedly items were stored. As you can see here, a lot of the fixtures here are original to the building. The building itself is 120 Just came down the stairs from upstairs to the third floor, and now we're on the second floor. We previously had a dance school here. We now have opened up the dance studio for other local dancers to come in and do their own rehearsals. When we become fully operational after COVID, we are looking to create a theater/dance co-op where we will rent out to 2 or 3 organizations. The space is on its own too much for one artist company to take on the expense to hold the lease on their own. So we're doing a cooperative leasing with a couple of local theater groups, possibly, one of which is a children's group and a dance group as well. This room is the largest studio space in our building. It's over 1,500 square feet. And as you can see, it's very well lit. So we're in the process of doing a reset with our dance company leaving. Come October, November, we're going to have artwork up on the walls. We've been holding off doing any arts exhibitions due to COVID, but normally we would have artwork or something on the walls. Right now we have one studio coming in and one studio that just left, so they're still doing some renovations on their studio space. We have a couple of studios where the space is large enough for 2 artists. So we have a textile artist on one side. It looks like one of our residents leaving. Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing, I'm just doing some video for our grant meeting.
Cool.
So, and this is Armadillo Tintype. This is Nick Delmar. Hi, Nick.
Hey.
And all our studios are rented out to arts-based initiatives, artists, art teachers, Um, and they're all very, very affordable. We have our 40s room, which is going through a reset right now, where we have, and the reason why it's called the 40s room is we have graduates from the 1940s featured on the walls in here. Again, this was an old high school, so you know, this is basically if you look at it one way, a time capsule to the past of how, you know, our organization, our educational system used to be, and then you fast forward to today. You know, there's still sports happening. There's still organizations happening, but the faces and the clothing all go through a major change. This is open to the public. We have a lot of alumni come in and look for their relatives, themselves, or they have themselves have already gone through this school, either in the high school, when it was a high school, or when it was a elementary and middle school. This school closed as a school in the late 70s, and then the Ocean Grove Historic Preservation Society took over possession and ownership of the school around 1997. So this building has gone over some major restoration efforts, all thanks to the dream of one man, Herb Herbst, and a bunch of friends and volunteers and community members who, you know, helped put this beautiful building back together. Here's our main staircase down to the first level. Again, we are also a historic site. As I mentioned before, we're 120 years old, over 120 years old. I believe the building was built in 1897.